Whoever's here early, nice to see you. I am finally Loctited my mic holder. Let's see how this works. Okay. Here we go. All right, welcome to Evidence-Based Audio number 204, and this is It's Not a Match. Why am I talking like one of these YouTube chodes? Sorry about that. I'm a little bit worn out and just catching up to some stuff, but I want to show you, first of all, kind of been sitting on this for a little while. I think I showed some pictures of this. This is our Node EQ plugin. Let me just play some audio here. Turn it down. All right, so this is version 2 here. We had a little bit of trouble. We're still moving on to a new graphic system, new registration system, and everything. If you haven't seen Node EQ before, basically it's an EQ and dynamics plugin where you just go straight to the note you're talking about if you have an issue with. I think lots of times you're going to see, like, maybe you got a bass guitar. You know, of course, there's that dreaded one-note bass problem. This actually can pretty much knock that out. But usually you got like one loud note, or, you know, back in the day when we used to have like the Crane Song EQ for, believe it or not, before there was vocal pitch correction, we used to actually use EQs to force a note to feel a little bit closer to the target pitch, just by turning up or turning down the harmonics on it. That's a whole subject all to itself, and it's kind of something that starts flame wars and stuff. I don't know. I guess if you guys really want to talk about that, we will. I would love to talk about that, actually, but anyway, that's what we used to do to fix vocal notes back in the day. And there's still engineers out there who refuse to use auto-tune and still want to correct notes by doing just using EQs. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this plugin, really the one you're going to see it on is like a chug from just a D note on a guitar that doesn't happen on like a D sharp. It's really weird. Sometimes there'll be one note that's just crazy loud. And so this plugin, you just pick your octave. It'll tell you which octave you're on, C0, C1, C2, C3, whatever. All the way up to, it's got 8 octaves worth of stuff. You go there, you find the note that you're looking for. I don't have anything especially chuggy right now, but I do have this little riff here. I'll play it. Let me loop it for a second. You can kind of see what this guy's doing. So, you know, back in the day, if you had one note bass, you would say, you know what, it's going to be that open E, let's say, that's making all the trouble. Actually, it wouldn't be. It'd be someplace between like the 5th and 7th note. So let's just say A. Let's just go to like, let's say it's the A note. It's usually going to be the 5th, 6th, or 7th fret, like, if you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, since I suck at pianos, I know this is C, D, E, F, G, A. Let's say it's A. So, which is not going to be on this particular one, actually, but let's just say it's A. So I'd enable this band, and if I wanted, I could just turn it up or turn it down. It may be that it's hitting too many adjacent frequencies. Just take the Q control and tighten it up. You know, it starts out pretty wide, but you can make this just ridiculously tight, and you know what happens with that. But we'll deal with that. But you know, maybe you don't want to do it that way. Maybe you don't want to mess with this thing until that hits. So take the dynamics control, turn it on. You can set it pretty high. Let's say 8 to 1 ish. I'm just going to turn down the threshold, so every time that note hits, it's just going to suck down that one note. Again, this isn't something you can't do with another EQ. There's plenty of EQs out there that have dynamic EQs. In fact, we've got a dynamic EQ. Re-EQ will tell you what note it is, but this is just a quality of life thing. If this is something you do a lot, this will get you there immediately. You know, say, oh, you know what? Maybe it wasn't that harmonic that's doing it. it could be the next one up. So let me go there. So first of all, let's say I'd turn off this one and say, you know what, maybe it's the next A. So I'm going to look at this A, give it kind of the same treatment, make a pretty narrow Q, turn the dynamics on and say, yeah, you know what, it could be this harmonic that's doing it. But in this case, we're not really, oh, I got to enable it. Sorry, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, see, I'm a baboose. All right. There you go. So it could be that harmonic that's doing it instead of the other one. And sometimes you're going to have to find it that way. So sort of similar to how drum EQ goes up and down the harmonics. This way, I think you're going to have a much easier time, though, because visually you're going to see that note pop up. But anyway, I haven't added this to the official update yet for our file delivery system. But if you guys want to test this, let me know. I think I'm going to be adding this in the next couple of days. I haven't had any problems with it. I've updated. I've tried it registered, unregistered, whatever. I've sent this out to some of the people who had this plugin. That this is one of our lowest selling plugins, honestly. But the people who like it, they love it, and they're absolute fanatics with it. So so far, all the feedback I've gotten saying this is working well. I think this new user interface is beautiful. I forgot all about it. But man, looking at it now, this is just such a work of art, man. I just love it. I kind of want all our plugins to look like this, or maybe you guys hate this. So let me know. Anyway, that is our update to Node EQ, and I'm really happy about this. So. I can't wait till the guys that out there that do use this kind of thing, grab it and let me know how it's working for you. And yeah, this is a big update to this thing. This thing hasn't really been touched in quite a while, and now here we go. I know a lot of people were asking about this for a long time. All right, so let me get on to the next thing here, and why we name this thread. And this is a challenge for you guys out there. You know, this is up for whoever. Let me see if anything happened. Oh, this is actually something I want to know, because we're going to be talking about this in a little bit. Not making them. Okay. So that's okay. So that's okay. All right. So this is something I did before at one of the other forums where Schmucks, I finally I don't know if I got all the way banned or quit or whatever. I don't even know anymore. So this is, I really like bias effects, bias amps, bias effects, positive grid. I actually filled out an application to work for those guys, some years ago. I really like that company. I know a lot of people hate them, and I'm kind of tripping out now that, they seem to have stopped making hardware completely, or at least the hardware that I was used to. They don't have the bias heads or bias amps or whatever. They got the Spark, the little combo amp thingy, but that's not, I mean, maybe they make more money with that, and I hope they do well, because I really do like their products. I know, like I said, I know people don't, but I do. Anyway, I really like this one particular amp sound from Bias Amps, and using Revolver's profiling system. You know, is that even around anymore? Revolver. You know, I'd like to hear from Scott Meyer. I haven't heard from him for a while. It looks like Revolver's still going, so I'm gonna put this over here. We're gonna talk about this in a little bit. Sorry. So the Revolver capturing system, I got it perfectly in it. Some of the other capturing systems, I was able to duplicate this just fine. I cannot, for the life of me, get this sound on my Helix. I mean, I've tried. Helix doesn't do any capturing or profiling or whatever, but still yet, I should be able to come close, but I just can't. And so I put this thread up. The $100 matching bias tones in Helix challenge Mark II. And I said, this was really fun last time, and I'm still using the winner's preset live, so it was definitely worth the money. So basically, I put up $100. I said, whoever gets closest to this, to the sound, I'm going to give them $100. I'm who just decides. And the sound that I use right now, it's nowhere near it, but I really like it. And so that's the sound I'm using. I think, you know, in the interest of science or whatever, this was actually pretty fun test. So I said, however, it still didn't get too close. I want to give this another try. If it still doesn't work, I will just stick my phone in the Helix effects loop or the Moore profiling preamp or Amplitude Tone X. Here's how it works. I have some files and an impulse to test with. I'll provide a preset that I use in case you have bias effects. If not, you should be able to do it from the bias amp demo. They have changed some of the included amps, but it should be pretty close. I use the Metal 5153 with all the stock settings except bypassing the cab and using the impulse I provided. I would prefer just the amp sound, as I may be changing the impulse later. This one is included just so you can have an apples to apples reference. Here are the files you can pop in, and I show you how to do it. Here's the test files and everything. Here are the settings. Here's the amps. And so I show how to do it. And then I give some rendered outputs. And then I'm also saying, with or without the bias Tube Screamer 808 or whatever the thing's called. Tube Screamer pedal. And I said, I'll decide who is closest in Venmo, Cash App, whatever, $100 to your account. I'll be running this across a few forums, but I'll put the updates and winner here as well. Please post the wave you got if you can, and or upload the Helix preset. In order to collect, you'll need to be able to provide the preset. And then, of course, you're going to see some stupid haters and stuff, but So people gave some suggestions, and you know what? These suggestions actually get close. Somebody calls James Freeman to the scene, though, and I don't really know what exactly this guy does. I always see him in all the forums. People talk about him. I keep getting him mixed up with James Mitchell, but he says producer, engineer. I don't know. He always seems to have some way of getting guitar sounds right. And we talked about a couple of weeks ago when he was talking about how to set input levels properly with bias and probably some others. He was the guy who really spelled out some. I'm actually going to read a little bit of that in a little bit. So people are saying, could you post a cabless clip? I did, and somebody got one a waveform, but he didn't provide the preset. I sent some more this is how I like to see it. People are saying, hey, you know what? The files you're providing are not really working for doing this. So can you get some better files up to help test this? And of course I did, but that's how this works. You're never right off the bat. You got to do some back and forth. And I really appreciate this. And then so James Freeman sends me some pink noise files. And it says, hey, can you run this through your stuff and upload what you get? And I do. And, okay, first of all, he sends back things that look so damn close. It was mind-blowing how close he got these things. The trouble is it still doesn't sound like it. It's weird. Like, I think there's something to do with how the distortion works. I think we talked about this before. I think the distortion works different on the Helix than on the other stuff, but in some ways it sounded immensely close. In some ways it sounded pretty far apart. It's really when I switch to my neck pickup that it kind of all falls apart, but it's so close. I mean, look at these curves. The other thing is he really got me to the point where I'm using this Voxengo Span. I actually went and bought the Span Plus version, and when I go to, he's showing me how to do spectrum modes. I never knew how to do this. These static files where it'll show you like some overlays and stuff, and then you can actually try and match with that. That is so handy. This is just awesome. So James really helped me understand how to use Span better, and I use Span a lot, but I never really understand the settings and stuff, and I never had the full the paid version. It was like $50, so it's totally worth it. But he made some sounds that sounded very close, and let's see if I can play these actually. So that's mine. Does that actually go through? Let me just check. Sorry, I'm not sure that this is picking it up. Okay, and this is what he got. Now it's close. There's some, I mean, you can hear some differences, there's like a hardness that you can get on biases. You can't really get on Helix, but seems to be getting it. It's when I use my neck pickup that it doesn't really come through right, but still, yeah, this is so damn close. I'm going to be actually playing with this some more. He's showing that some weird things were going on, but man, that was close. And so I was saying, there were some weird things. Is the IR loader doing different things in Helix than in bias? For instance, so that would be a biggie. I don't think it is. I think they're pretty close. I should do a null test to find out. And I was thinking, match the no cab track. Yeah, that's right. So, we refine this a little bit. And then somebody, of course, says, can't you just use a quad cortex and profile your bias? And I actually had done that. When I had the quad cortex over here, I actually did that. And I said, it actually works perfect for that, as does the Revolver profile and the Audio Assault one. But I'd love to just have it on Helix, because the Helix is the device that I carry around. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, yeah, he helped me learn how to use span. Somebody else, Sasha Frank, did one with the angle meteor and the tilt pedal, which is smart, because if all the Tube Screamer's doing is just that EQ, I'm not sure that's true, but if all the Tube Screamer's doing is the EQ, this is pretty close. But it didn't really sound that much like it. I kind of feel bad. Wizenby, who does a lot of this stuff too, he wrote some rules. He said, there are 4 rules that I live by. 1, never get less than 12 hours of sleep. 2, never play cards with the man that has the same name as a city, right? Dallas, Austin, whatever. 3, never get involved with a woman who has a tattoo of a dagger on her body. And 4, always run 2 pink noise files through your plugins. Everything else is cream cheese. And so, we go back and forth. I'm not sure that there's much more in this. So, I actually asked, why did you use the PV Vitriol? Shouldn't the PV Panama, which is their 51, be a candidate as well? Or was that one just made weird? And he says they're very similar. Both can be tweaked to sound identical without extra IQ. When the post gain of the Vitriol is around 8, the real amp is literally just a 5150 with more bells and whistles. And so, that's assuming that the bias one is actually close to the real 5150, which I don't know that it is. And I honestly, I don't care. I know people said it wasn't at all, but I liked what that bias one does. So, and then this is where I keep ending up. This is crazy. You get so close, then there's this one last bit and it wrecks everything. Frustrating seesaw of expectations. Yeah. And so, it is, it's not quite there. Sorry. I'm going to mess with it some more in a little bit. This day's kind of getting away from me, man. It's already 2:00. I can't believe it. But, I will be doing more on this in just a little while, I think. I might do this live. That might be fun. So anyway, he gives me some more hints about how to set up the Voxengo span. And I tell you, if you don't have an analyzer that you use all the time, I would definitely be getting Voxengo span. And the other thing I was using for a lot of this, of course, is Ulean's loudness meter. This is free. You can get a pro version. I'm not sure exactly what the pro version does different, but this is so handy for getting your levels figured out correctly. It is absolutely awesome. So that, yeah, span and the Ulean thing. Okay, so we talked about this thread before. This is calibrating the Helix native input level. So James Freeman has a process for setting these amps up and stuff using the levels and things to get everything right. And it's very much worth a read if you want to do this kind of thing. So he's, because the trouble is how do you know if you're even getting the right amount of gain, distortion, whatever on the amp? Because that's tricky, right? I don't know that the bias Tube Screamer is actually distorting much. I don't know that the Helix one is. I know that they look very different when you put them up to each other. So he has like a few steps here. So let me just talk about his steps. So he says, 1, run normal level around minus 15 dB pink noise into the reference plugin with flat settings, gain, bass, mid, treble, presence, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and master at 1, important to avoid power amp compression. Okay, I think there's a cautionary note there. It may be that the power amp compression is going, and that's why I'm not getting the sound I think I'm getting, but anyway, we'll go on there. Then freeze the spectrum with Span Plus, which is how you get these lines that stay there, and they're named. You can color them, whatever. And I didn't know those even existed before, so I'm so glad to know that now. 2, lower the pink noise to minus 70, really quiet, and take another spectrum shot. Now you have 2 reference points with the reference from the reference Soldano model. This step is the most important part because it measures the input level at the linear region before the input distorts and compresses. Assuming your gain's not, that gain at 5 isn't distorting or compressing, right? That's where I'm having a little bit of trouble here. 3, load the other Soldano plugin and run minus 15 dB pink noise into it and match the output level, not master, to the reference amp spectrum. Both amps should have the exact same, gain, bass, middle, treble, presence, master setting, only match the output level. 4, lower the pink noise to input to minus 70 dB and match the input level. Is that the input level to the amp? This is where it gets tricky. Until it matches the reference minus 70 dB spectrum. That is the required input level to match the actual gain of both models when the gain knob are both set at 5. The result is far more accurate than earballing if both amp models supposed to have the same gain range. This is technically gain matching, which is part of tone matching. It is not the calibration we were talking about in this thread. This thread really reserves another thread. Now, the trouble is, I don't know how accurate the knobs are on this bias amp that I'm trying out, but I could try and do it this way and see what happens, and then try turning the settings to where they are, and I'll give it a try. We'll see. We'll see how that is. So that's a note that I have to do. See what happens when I put everything at flat, and see if I still get the sound I expect out of bias. We'll see. I really got to make sure that I'm comparing apples to apples and take the IR loader out of the equation, all that stuff. So, but what is out there to profile stuff, right? You guys probably know the Kemper profiling amp. I don't know that, it's just pretty much the same thing that's been being sold for more than a decade, I think. So that's really stood the test of time. This is the original amp profiling thing. You have some process, you play it with your amp. I don't know that it's artificial intelligence. I don't know, whatever. We know there are some awesome artificial intelligence ones out there. One in particular that's free that a lot of people have been messing with lately. But this is the commercial version. You could go get this Kemper here, and this should do it. But I don't really want to carry around another giant thing with me. There's the Quad Cortex, which we've probably said way too much about on this in this show. It'll do it. When I tried it with it, it worked perfect for this. Again, for a number of reasons, I don't want to be carrying Quad Cortex around. IK Multimedia's Tonex. I haven't tried this yet. I suspect this will work perfect. Like I said, I know the Audio Assault one worked. I know the Revolver one worked. Those are not AI in any sort. This one, I think it is. It says AI machine model, tone creator, player browser. There's a $50 version supposedly that'll do the captures. I should try this out. Maybe we'll do that live and see how that works. And of course, the Tonex pedal's coming out, which is going to be, well, we think it is anyway. That we don't know. This is going to be a leaked thing. It's nobody's admitting to it right now, but it seems to be a real piece of hardware, and it's a no-brainer. Of course, put this on here. I wouldn't do it this way. If I were Amplitube, I would make a full-feature pedal board that does all of what Amplitube does. It's the plug-in in a pedal, just like Helix. Helix, you can take your Helix native plugin and send that preset right to your Helix pedal board. It is absolutely awesome. It'd be nice if Amplitude did the same thing. I don't think they're gonna, because they keep making these like single pedal things, but man, that would be awesome to have that flagship processor that's just everything in Amplitude, including this Tonex. But the other thing is you could get this 3-button Tonex thing and stick it on your pedal board. I think it's too big for what I want it to do, and it's probably gonna be about $500. You know, Revolver will do this, but again, that's not hardware. The amp cloning thing that it does, though, is actually awesome. Like, and this is from a long time ago. I don't know. That could be 10 years old. I know 5 years ago it was definitely working just fine. And I was able to get my bias amp perfectly. Which is why I'm having so much trouble understanding why I can't make it work with what I'm doing. Okay, so another one, a choice here, is this More Preamp Model X. And supposedly this thing lets you do capturing with this More Studio thing. And yeah, see this. Supposedly this does like AI-based profiling, or maybe it's not AI, I don't know. But it's called like MNRS or something. I can't really find much much information about it. I've seen some videos, so here's let me turn this down a little bit and see what's going on here. So let me see if I can find the part where this show. Yeah, see, so you so this is their capturing thing. You know, you run your audio interface, put the amp into. Let's see if this is anything weird. I know people are saying this is some kind of impossible to do thing. Let me see. I don't want to use an app to do this, but whatever. Guitar in, mic in, or amp output in, whatever. What's going out there? What's going out the amp? I would do this a different way, but this thing is small enough where I think I could just put it in on my pedal board. I think I have enough space, or else I could glue it to something, the top of my wireless or something, or Velcro it. I mean, I think it's small enough. I got to measure it again, but this would be one way, is to carry this thing around. And, so there's a Lao video on this thing. If you guys know other profiling stuff, maybe there's a smaller device or a better one. I hear that a lot of these mowers end up bricked, which is something that I don't want to deal with. But for I think it's like $175. Let's see. What is more Preamp Model X? I have one of the more actually I have a couple things by them. I have the keyboard, the guitar synth thing. I love that. It works fine. It's in my it's on my pedal board. It's super tiny. It's like one of those micro things. I have the more pitch pedal thing that I bought that. It's a polyphonic pitch shifter. I swear it sounds worse than the onboard pitch thing on Helix, so I'm not using it for that. I'm thinking about putting it back on my pedal board, because maybe I don't know. I need to test that more, but I wish they had a micro version of this thing, because I don't need the switches and stuff. But what does this thing cost? Let's see if we can find it on Amazon. Yeah, $169, $159. So this is cheap. I mean, if it works, it would end for the amount of time I've put in trying to make this thing work. But then again, it is another hit to analog to digital, digital analog, which may not be that bad. But anyways, that's what I got for today. If you guys want to take part in the $100 tone matching challenge, please be my guest. Go over to thegearforum.com and just find that go to the digital modeling section, the $100 matching bias tones and Helix challenge Mark II. And, I will whoever wins, I'm sending that $100 over to your PayPal or Venmo or whatever. And that's really all I got for this week. I'm kind of strapped for time. It's been a little bit crazy. I'm taking a college course for computer science, software engineering, something like that. I should probably know, for I'm paying for the damn thing. But anyways, I'll